These 6 motorcycle brands are about to vanish, and if you own one, you have 90 days to sell before they become worthless scrap metal. Right now, over 45,000 new motorcycles are rotting on dealer lots across America. Not for days or weeks. We're talking over 200 days of nobody even kicking the tires. But here's the shocking truth. The industry doesn't want you to know. Harley-Davidson just cut production by 25%, and their showrooms are still overflowing like someone tried to hoard motorcycles for the apocalypse. Meet Tom, a lifelong Harley rider who thought his 2023 Street Glide would hold its value like his dad's '85 Sportster. He paid $32,000 18 months ago. Last week, 3 dealers offered him $19,000. That's a $13,000 loss on a bike that's barely broken in. Tom's not alone. Across 6 major brands, owners are discovering their investment motorcycles have become financial anchors, dragging them underwater. Repossession rates are up 28% year over year. 1 in 5 motorcycle loan applications now gets rejected. And the brands you trusted? They're bleeding money so fast that bankruptcy lawyers are circling like vultures. But here's what really matters. When entire motorcycle brands are on life support, how do you protect yourself from becoming their next casualty? And if you're thinking about selling, why do the next 90 days determine whether you escape with your shirt or lose everything? The clock is ticking. And for these 6 brands, time just ran out. Harley-Davidson's numbers in 2024 don't just look ugly, they look terminal. The company's motorcycle revenue crashed by 60% in the 4th quarter alone. Not a typo, 60%. That's not some seasonal dip or a blip on a chart. That's what happens when the market decides it's done, pretending your product is still cool or even necessary. Total unit sales? Down 21% year over year. And it gets worse. In the 1st quarter of 2025, Harley managed to move just 33 live-wire electric bikes. 33. In a country of 330 million people. You could fit every new live-wire owner in a single Starbucks and still have room for the staff. The live-wire was supposed to be Harley's moonshot, the thing that would finally bring in the next generation. Instead, it's become a punchline. Even after slashing production by more than half, Harley's warehouses are still packed with unsold bikes, models that cost more to store than they're worth on the open market. CFO filings show operational losses stacking up quarter after quarter, with global shipments falling by 17% in 2024. That's 148,862 bikes, the lowest output in over a decade. The bloodbath isn't limited to the US. North American sales dropped 13%. But the real carnage hit overseas. Asia-Pacific collapsed by 26%, and Europe, Middle East, and Africa by 7%. Latin America? Down 7% too. Harley's own guidance for 2025? Withdrawn. They couldn't even predict how bad things might get. Meanwhile, Livewire's guidance was for 1,000 to 1,500 units shipped in 2024. Actual result? 612. And then that Q4 nosedive, just 236 units shipped, a 54% collapse from the previous year. All the glossy marketing and heritage branding in the world can't cover up a 60% revenue freefall. The numbers don't lie. The market has spoken. And it's not just saying no, it's saying never again. Dealerships that once anchored entire riding communities are now vanishing overnight. In just the last 30 days, 47 motorcycle dealers have shut their doors for good across America. That's not a blip. That's a retail extinction event. And it's not just small-town shops going under. Flagship Harley-Davidson stores in Los Angeles and New York City both closed in late 2024. LA's legendary Fullerton location went dark on October 31st. New York's Long Island City dealership, the only Harley store in America's largest city, shut down September 28th after the owner cited current economic conditions and limited real estate options. On the ground, the math is brutal. Dealers who used to move bikes in 30 days now watch them collect dust for 250, 300 days or more. Every month, Floor plan lenders charge interest on that unsold inventory, sometimes $25,000, even $40,000 a month just in interest. That's not profit, that's a slow bleed. George Gatto, a second-generation Harley dealer and industry council chair, doesn't sugarcoat it. They're not making any money. He's seen the pandemic boom turn into a bust, with manufacturers pushing more inventory onto dealers even as foot traffic dried up and interest rates spiked. The result? Margins on new bikes are the worst he's ever seen. It gets uglier. Harley's production of core models, Pan America, Sportster, Nightster, shifted to Thailand in 2023, breaking a promise that all US bikes would be American-made. The Kansas City plant is gone, 572 jobs with it. Dealers in big cities face not just slow sales, but facility upgrade demands that can run into the millions. Gatto's own shop was told to spend $7 million just to remodel. For many, it's easier to walk away than to sink more cash into a business that's already underwater. This isn't just about numbers on a spreadsheet. Every closure means lost jobs, lost know-how, and one less place for riders to gather, get parts, or keep their bikes on the road. The contagion is spreading. Honda and BMW dealers are feeling the same squeeze. The showroom lights are going out, and for many brands, there's no coming back. KTM's balance sheet looks like a demolition site. The company entered self-administration in November 2024, staring down 2.9 billion euros in total liabilities. That's not a typo, nearly 3 billion euros. And the pain isn't spread out over a decade. Creditors gave KTM until May 23, 2025, to cough up 548 million euros in cash or face liquidation. That's 6 months to find €500 million when banks are already circling. Meanwhile, the real estate isn't motorcycles. It's warehouses stuffed with 265,000 unsold bikes. That's an entire year's worth of production, just sitting, rotting, racking up costs. The company owes 1.3 billion euros to banks, 365 million euros to suppliers, and 40 million euros just in overdue salaries. Every day those bikes gather dust, the debt clock keeps ticking, and creditors aren't patient. They want cash, not promises. With this kind of financial overhang, there's no runway left. For KTM, the only thing moving fast is the countdown to insolvency. Factory lights in Mattighofen flickered out just after New Year's, and the silence has lingered. KTM's main plant, once a round-the-clock engine for Europe's biggest motorcycle brand, now sits idle. Not a single bike off the line for weeks, not a test engine fired. Workers, more than 3,600 of them, sent home with nothing but uncertainty and partial pay. The reason isn't a holiday or a planned upgrade. It's a cash drought so severe that suppliers stopped shipping parts. No parts, no bikes. The warehouses? Still jammed with 265,000 unsold motorcycles, enough to stretch from Austria to the Alps and back. The clock's ticking, and everyone knows it. Creditors gave KTM until May 23rd to come up with 548 million euros in real money, not promises. That's the only way the doors stay open. Miss it, and the company faces liquidation. 4,200 bikes managed to trickle out before the lines ground to a halt in January and February. But that's a drop in a warehouse ocean. Employees wait for word. Suppliers wait for payment. Dealers wait for inventory that may never arrive. If the money doesn't land by the deadline, Mattighofen's lights go out for good, and the shockwaves won't stop at KTM's gates. Now, let's move over to Indian, the comeback kid that looked like it might finally take Harley's crown. Not so fast, because Indian's fate is tied to its parent, Polaris, and that's where the real trouble starts. Polaris watched its profits nosedive by 82% in the third quarter of 2024. That's not a typo, 82%. Their overall sales, down 20% year over year. The fallout? 10% of the workforce gone, and a freeze on new bike allocations for dealers who can't move metal. So even if Indian's bikes are holding steady in North America, the brand is being dragged under by a parent company that's bleeding cash from every division: ATVs, snowmobiles, even boats. When the mothership starts sinking, nobody's safe. For Indian, it's not about how many Scouts they can sell. It's whether Polaris can keep the lights on through next spring. So, you think Honda, Kawasaki, and BMW are safe? Not even close. Honda dealers are now sitting on a 90 to 100-day supply. Bikes just gathering dust, tying up cash, and racking up interest. Kawasaki's network is feeling the pinch too, with floor plan lenders breathing down their necks over inventory that won't move. And BMW? They just pulled back North American expansion after an 18% sales drop in the US, and global sales are down 8%. Dealers are desperate, slashing prices to get anything off the lot. Meanwhile, the real killer is the credit crunch. Loan approvals are the lowest they've been in a decade. Even buyers with good credit are getting turned away or forced into double-digit interest rates. It's not just the fringe brands anymore. Every showroom, every brand, every rider is at risk. No one is immune. The safe brand illusion is over. In 2024 alone, Harley-Davidson's revenue fell by 60%, and only 33 Livewire units were sold across the country. KTM is facing 548 million euros in debt, with 265,000 unsold bikes, and its May 23, 2025 restructuring deadline is confirmed by bankruptcy filings. Indian's parent, Polaris, reported an 82% profit collapse, while Honda and Kawasaki dealers confronted inventory backlogs of up to 100 days and rising closure rates. Despite these numbers, the full details of supplier negotiations and long-term restructuring plans remain undisclosed. What is clear? The failure of even the most iconic motorcycle brands is documented fact, not rumor. For owners and dealers, the evidence shows that waiting invites deeper losses. Repossession rates are up 28%, and 1 in 5 buyers is now denied financing. The documents, dealer quotes, and sales data all point to a single reality. These 6 brands are no longer safe bets. In an industry where loyalty once meant stability, the numbers now write a different story.